Willpower is a myth. People go on diets and they say, "Well, why'd you fail?" "Well, I just didn't have the willpower." Willpower is a myth. It's a myth because it's emotionally driven, and emotions are what? They're fickle. They change. They come. They go. You're up. You're down. You this. You that. You think, okay, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds. Okay, and you're all pumped up about it January 1st. But then it comes the middle of February, and it's cold outside, and it's warm in bed, and you don't want to go jog or go to the gym, and willpower's kind of gone. So, what's the substitute for willpower? Programming. Programming. You have to set up your environment to support the things that you want to do. That means if you have things that you are committing to change, you have to set your environment up so it cues you, triggers you, reminds you, supports you to do it. I'll give you a good example right now. Right now, I've been working on a shoulder that I had surgery on not terribly long ago, and I've got this small dumbbell on my desk. Why? Well, I've got this dumbbell on my desk here. I've got it on my desk at the studio. I've got one in the dressing room of my studio. I've got one in the den here. I've got one of these everywhere that I spend time and have a few minutes. I've got a gym upstairs and I can go in there and work out, and I do. But if I'm here and I'm watching a video that I need for the show, or I'm reading something and I've got a few minutes, then I can pick this up and do the things I need to do while I'm watching that. And you would be astounded how many sets I can get in during the day when I just have a few minutes. Now you're saying, wait a minute, are you multitasking there, Dr. Phil? No, I'm not multitasking. I'm using dead time when I wouldn't have time to go up to the gym, but I'm just here at my desk and I'm waiting to do this, waiting to do that, waiting for something to load. And I've got some time that I don't have time to go up to the gym. I might be in a suit. I might be not in any kind of gym clothes, but these are cues that remind me what I need to do. And I've set my environment up to make it really easy to do it instead of really hard to do it. And if you decide, hey, I want to work out, instead of come home at the end of the day and go in the kitchen and graze around, then I would tell you, you set your environment up by doing what? Well, first off, you take your workout clothes with you to work so you can stop at the gym on the way home. You don't have to come home and have the pull of the comfort of home where you are fighting that impulse to stay there. You have it where you can go while you're out and about. You say, well, I come through the kitchen, I open the refrigerator door, I stare into it, and I start nibbling on this, nibbling on that. Well, you know what? Park your car, go out the garage door, and go around and come in the front door. Don't go through the kitchen. Set your pattern up, set your environment up where it supports you rather than tempts you. You set your environment up for success. You put notes around, you put things around like this dumbbell, so you have it where it's easy and it pulls for success rather than temptation. If you want to quit smoking, then rid yourself of everything in your environment that makes it easy to smoke. Obviously, get rid of all of your cigarettes, get rid of all of your ashtrays. If you get them from a vending machine, go down a different hallway at work. Whatever you have to do, use your environment to support what you're doing. Now, so far, we haven't talked about any goals. I'm just talking about you. I'm talking about you deciding, what can I do to be the most effective person that I can possibly be? And it has to do so far with your attitude. We've talked about how you can be smarter, how you can be more efficient, how you can program yourself for success. And I've talked to you about the reality of time. I don't want you 6 months from now saying, well, if I had just, look, if. Those are the middle two letters of the word life. Don't spend your life focused on if. You want to do. Don't focus on if. And you may say, look, I hear you, Dr. Phil. It's very motivational. I get it, but that's just not me. We were all somebody else yesterday. We are evolving people. We were all somebody else yesterday. The past is just that. It's the past. That's why the rearview mirror is small and the windshield on your car is big. The past is past. The future is wide open. You decide what you're going to be. As I said, if you do make a resolution, if you do set a specific goal, you're much more likely to achieve it than if you just kind of in your mind say, yeah, I'd like to do better at that. Why? Because once you write it down, that's action-oriented. It's moving you towards the goal. That's the first step. You're in motion. You've got momentum. And as you know, momentum is the tendency for objects in motion to remain in motion. And inertia is a tendency for objects at rest to remain at rest. If you're just thinking about it, you're not in motion. You don't have any momentum. You haven't written anything down. You haven't done anything. So it's important, if you have a resolution, you have a goal, write it down. And when you write it down, it needs to meet certain characteristics. And here are the characteristics. It needs to be measurable. It doesn't do any good to say, I want to be happier. Well, what's that mean? You need to operationalize that. What does happy mean? You want to smile more, cry less, be more active? Whatever it means, define it. It's got to be measurable in some way. If you say, I want to be more active, you could define that in terms of I want to walk 10,000 steps a day. Then you can get a step counter and say, okay, I did it. So your goal has to be measurable. Second, you need to define the steps that you need to take to get from where you are now to that goal. We don't have to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Small changes add up to big differences across time. Let's say one of your goals is to lose weight. Well, listen, if you lose a pound a week, a half a pound a week, a pound and a half a week over the next 6 months, that adds up. If you lose a pound a week for the next 26 weeks, that's 26 pounds. And here's the thing. You might want it to be more, but that 26 weeks is going to go by whether you're doing something about your weight or not. Like I said, time is the biggest mistake we make. We think we have time. That 26 weeks is going by whether you're doing something or not. You might as well be doing something. A third important characteristic is you've got to give yourself some atta-girls, some atta-boys. When you do something and you achieve one of those interval steps, pat yourself on the back. Say, hey, I did that. I got it done. If one of your goals is I want to go back and get my associate degree or whatever, then if step one is I need to get my high school transcripts, I need to write to my high school, get copies of my transcripts. If that's your goal this week and you write that letter and you send it off, then say, hey, I got that done. I did that. If your goal next week is to contact the community college and find out what their start dates are and what the curriculums are, and you get those catalogs, give yourself credit. You got that done. In the third week, you get those transcripts and you fill out that application and you attach them and you deliver it out there. Give yourself credit for that. Have you gotten your associate's degree yet? No, but you've taken the steps towards it, and you can't get there till you do that. Give yourself credit. A goal has to have a timeline. Some day is not a day of the week. I've looked at my calendar. It's got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Some day is not on there. You got to be specific. You got to have a timeline. And you've got to have accountability. Somebody that you trust, somebody that wants you to succeed. Set up with them and say, hey, every Wednesday or every Friday or every Sunday, I want you to check in with me and hold me accountable. And if I didn't get done what I said I was going to get done, I want you to look me in the eye and say, what was more important than doing what was your number one priority? I want you to hold my feet to the fire, and you need to have patience and you need to have forgiveness. This is not going to be a success-only journey. So when you screw up, when you run it off in the ditch, that's not an excuse to quit. That is a cue to get back up there and close the gap.